Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Brook Hill Athletic Awards Show. My name is Wally Dawkins. I'm the Athletic Director at Brook Hill, and I am so excited that you've decided to join us tonight. This evening, we're going to recognize many of our outstanding Brook Hill student athletes for their accomplishments this past season. Our coaching staff has voted on these awards, and each team will have an award in the Guard Heart and the Mr. and Miss. The Guard Heart Award is for the student athlete that showed the most dedication, commitment, and Christian leadership on his or her team. Mr. and Miss Awards recognize the student athlete that epitomizes what Brook Hill Athletics is all about. And then in the upper school, we'll have a Most Valuable Player Award. This award has been voted on by the coaching staff for the player who they think did the most outstanding job in having a successful season. We'll also recognize All-State, Academic All-State, and All-District Award winners. Again, we're so excited that you're here. And now, without any further ado, let's get on with the show.
If I had to describe Brook Hill Athletics in one word, it would be resilient.
Family.
It would be family.
It would be competitive.
Supportive. If I had to describe Brook Hill in one word, hustle.
I would say exciting.
Rewarding.
It would be committed.
If I could describe Brook Hill in one word, it would be a blessing.
Heart. My word would be relentless.
Dedication. Supportive. Commitment. Purposeful.
That word would be community.
Dedication. Engagement.
If I had to describe Brook Hill Athletics in one word, it would be tradition.
Spirited.
Brotherhood.
Tenacity.
Competitive.
Pride.
Merveilleux means marvelous in French.
Okay, so we're talking a little cross country here with Coach Anthony Springer, Coach Ivan Johnson. Now, you two guys, this is like the dynamic duo, right, of cross country, and this is your second full year for you guys to be in charge of both programs?
Yes.
Yep. Talk a little bit about what it's meant. I know you guys both have a cross country background and a love for it. Talk a little bit about what you've implemented from 6th grade up through 12th grade.
Go ahead. Well, we know people don't like to run, but we try to make it fun. Coach Springer and I, we do things. We scare them in the woods, and we encourage them to come out and have fun and say, running is cool. It's fun. So I think that's part of the growth we're trying to build here at Brook Hill, is to build a program, make it enjoyable, so the kids can get out there and have fun and run.
They probably found two good guys to do that. But you guys have the hardest job on campus, which you're right, is getting people to come out and run for no reason without something chasing you. All right, let's talk about middle school. Talk a little bit about the middle school year, Coach, and what those young guys and girls accomplished.
Yeah, our program, a few years ago we came out and there was only 5-6 runners total, and then over the last couple of years we've had over 30 kids come out. So it's a growing program. It's kind of our building blocks, and it's our foundation that we decided to really start working that program and building it up. So
how many meets are your middle school guys competing in?
Usually they're in about 5 meets a year is the average for the middle school. So.
Now, the middle school practice schedule, Coach, is one that's not ideal for everyone because you guys are out here early, getting a lot of miles in early on. Kind of talk about what the middle school practice looks like.
Well, it's hot in Texas, and especially in August.
Right.
And so we get out at 7:15 in the morning, and we get them a warm-up, and then we run. And we do take some time to rest, right. But it's about endurance. It's about conditioning. And so they get used to it after about 2 weeks, and then they're ready to go.
And something you have to do every day. You can't just go out and run cross country every couple of days and think it's okay. Let's talk about some middle school awards before we talk about high school. We'll start with the girls, Coach Springer, and we'll talk about your middle school girls Miss Cross Country.
Yeah, these awards have been independently verified, and this year's award for middle school Miss Cross Country is going to be Ann Savage.
Okay.
And, Ann Savage has just been she's been in the program now for a couple years, and she's just been phenomenal and just getting better and better and just really growing with the program, and we're really proud of her effort and how hard she works.
All right, let's talk about your middle school girls cross country Guard Heart Award winner.
The Guard Heart,
the Guard Heart Award this year, again, it's been confirmed, is Michaela Demandante.
Congratulations to Ann and Michaela and the success they've had. I know you guys are excited about their future. Let's talk about the middle school boys and the awards to the middle school boys and the 2019-2020 middle school Mr. Cross Country.
Okay, let me see here.
Now, were these confirmed?
These are confirmed. These have all been verified.
Okay, all right.
From Hollywood.
So excited.
All right. Okay, it's Jonah Holmes is going to be our Mr. Cross Country for middle school. Jonah came to us his first year here from the boarding program, and he just came out. We didn't know much about him. He came out and just was phenomenal. He runs older than he is. He could compete on our high school level already. So we're super excited about him and where he's going. He'll help our program tremendously. And just gritty, just keeps going and going and going, and just grinds it out.
Good deal. Great kid. Congratulations to Jonah. All right, the middle school boys Guard Hart Award winner for cross country.
The Guard Hart Award this year for cross country is Terry Kim. There it is.
Terry and Jonah, congratulations to both those guys. I know that anytime you go out and run a bunch of miles, it's nice to get rewarded for that. Other than something, like I said earlier, not chasing you and catching you. All right, let's talk about high school cross country. Now, as hard as it might be to get middle school kids to come out and run a bunch of miles for fun, what about talking high school kids and then coming out and doing that, Coach?
Yeah, it's hotter because we run in the afternoon, and it's not easy to get out there and get out there and do something that you, like you said, unless someone's chasing you, to get out there and run to better yourself. But we've had some good success. The kids are trying to get better. They're shaving time. They're doing their personal. We had a lot of personal bests this year, and I think that helps when you see kids improve.
And Coach Springer, you mentioned this earlier, but you're growing interest in the program. A lot of a higher number of kids this year than in the past.
Yeah, I think because we make it fun, and we have a lot of athletes that they're dual athletes. They play other sports. So we're working with other programs within our athletic program. So we got basketball players and soccer players trying to get into shape, and so it's a great job for them to come out and come out there and work and get ready for their main sport, if you want to call it.
I think cross country is probably one of those sports that teaches you more about yourself than about anything else.
Right.
What are some things that you guys have learned about the kids and about the program, and especially this year?
Well, you said it, hard work. There are no timeouts, no half times. They run and just taking pride in getting better. And
right.
I think that's what you show with cross country. Kids, you see a lot about them. You see what they're made of, kind of. You see what they're made of.
And Coach, talk about what it teaches. What do you think it teaches a high school kid to think, man, this is hard, but I'm going to get through it? What do you think it teaches them when it's all over with?
I mean, I think they find out a lot about themselves and that they can dig deep and they can finish it. When you first we name all our runs, the lasagna, the crawfish boil, and these kids are like, when they hear it and they're like, oh, I can't do that. But then at the end, when they finish, they can't. And when they finish it, they're just like, you could see them glowing. And just to speak on, as far as I coach other sports, and this sport is, these kids are so motivated, and I'm so impressed with them coming out here. It's 100 degrees and they're putting in the work, and it's amazing to me, and they're having a good time doing it.
Yeah, it's a team sport, but ultimately the most individual sport probably that we have here.
And we're goofballs, and they're goofballs, so we're having a good time.
There you go. All right, let's talk about some awards at the middle school level. We'll start with the girls, and let's start with the 2019-2020 Miss Cross Country Award winner. With some more verified
Yeah,
results.
these just came in, actually.
Okay, perfect.
So, Coach?
All right.
There you go.
What do I got? And the award for Miss Cross Country is going to go to a young lady that's been with our program. She's a senior this year, Diana Ramirez. And Diana she got hurt this year. She is a senior, and she went on a senior trip, and she dislocated her kneecap. But for the program, what she's meant to the program has been phenomenal. And then at the end, she came back, trained just to run in the district meet and come out there, and she finished the race. But her heart and determination to get back out there and at least finish her senior year running one event.
Extremely consistent would be the word to describe her
exactly.
and her career. All right, let's talk about the award for the girls cross country MVP.
It's Lily Fitzgerald, and Lily. She came out, before the season and said, Coach, can you get me through a workout out here one time? So she came out here, and I don't want to embarrass her or anything, but when she finished it, she tossed her cookies, and I said, well, we're not going to get her out there anymore. But she has been amazing as well, and Lily became our best runner, and just as a young runner, and her heart and determination again. I'll let Coach speak on it too as well.
Yeah, she, you don't know who's coming back when they have a hard practice.
Right.
You never know. And she kept coming back through injuries. She fought a couple of injuries, and she was just tenacious.
Would be easy after the first time of not going well to quit.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and the third award for girls cross country, the Guard Hart Award winner.
Yeah, this one just came in too, Coach. I'll let you get this one right here.
It's brand new. Avery Latson is our Guard Hart Award.
You know, Avery's a kid who participates in a lot of sports, Coach. And I think a lot of anybody who coaches or even teaches her says the same thing about her. She is that leader type that award goes.
She doesn't give up. She may not be the best, but you can look at her and say she's not going to quit.
That's right.
You know, we're running a 2K in the heat, you know, and even though you're not winning, sometimes it's easy to say, well, I'm just going to give up. But she fights through it, and she plays, and she runs through it too.
Congratulations to those three young ladies and the success they've had. Let's talk about the boys now and the 2019-2020 Mr. Cross Country Award.
Okay, let's see what we have here.
All right.
That one's actually still, look hot.
Look at all the bling here, too. Look at that. Woo.
Okay, Coach.
All right, Mr. Cross Country is also going to another senior we had, Jun Yang from Korea, and just another kid that he had some injuries this year as a senior, and had to battle through those, and was consistent again and just coming out and giving everything he had to continue to run. He wanted to run. He was running through pain and decided that he wanted to do that and continue to keep on grinding it out.
And if you don't know June, you can just see him on his skateboard when he wasn't running cross country.
Yes,
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
he goes faster on a skateboard than most of us do in a car, which is scary to me. Okay, the cross country MVP for this year.
Get these next two.
Okay, the MVP this year is Lord Ondonkor.
Yeah, there you go. And Lord, a new participant this year to the school.
He's a freshman, a new resident life, and that's his first name, Lord. And he got better and better every year, and every meet, actually. Not every year, every meet. And so that's why he was our MVP. He's the best runner we had as far as time. And like Coach said, you know, he kept coming back and running in the heat, and he did well.
Kudos to him. All right, and the third award, the Cross Country Guard Hart Award winner.
Guard Hart Award winner this year is James Jordan. James, again, is a multiple sport athlete, freshman, and James has the heart of a lion. He, again, works hard in everything he does, and he is a tenacious runner, and he, again, got better every meet, and we were so proud that James was out and he ran hard.
Yeah, he's been a welcome addition to the athletic program since he's been here, but definitely, you mentioned heart of a lion. I think a lot of people say that about James. So congratulations to our award winners in cross country, and you guys will probably be, well, the second, football and volleyball and cross country will start at the same time. So you guys will be back on campus first, training in August, and I know you guys are excited. You'll have some new names, Lasagna.
Yeah, we're coming up with some new names. We'll let the kids name them, and we got the pond runs. And
so if you want to come out and have a crawfish boil, but it's not going to be food. So we'll see you guys in August.
Yeah, come on out.
All right, so I'm here with the baseball staff here at Brook Hill now. Head coach Jerry Courtney, assistant coach Stephen Lewis, assistant coach Steve Soldy. And let's talk a little bit about the season, and we'll start with the middle school, or their lack of a season, however you want to look at it, Coach, because they came out and worked for 3 or 4 weeks, got a scrimmage in, and then all of a sudden the season's over with after spring break. So talk a little bit about your work with those guys and what you see in them and moving forward in the future.
Well, it was good to obviously, get the work in that we did. I mean, it was only about 3 weeks of practice. But to be honest with you, it was a wet spring. And the same thing I could say about high school. We were cut short, but with this facility, we didn't miss much practice, regardless of, the temperature or the weather the night before. Right. So it was a productive 3 weeks, and the good thing is that we're a talented group, and so at every grade level. And so just the opportunity to work with them for even a short amount of time was productive, but a little frustrating.
And in addition to the fact that we're one of the few schools who have middle school baseball, we were no doubt the only middle school baseball team that was getting to practice through all that rain, and the benefit of that, not only for now but for later, is probably something you can't even put into words.
No, it's very difficult because development in the middle school baseball program is paramount to being successful program-wide. When you get to high school at a school our size, it's very important that your freshman and your sophomore be ready to contribute. And that's only going to happen through a successful middle school program. So to get that time on the field, even as short as it was, we were very productive, and I know we've got some 8th grade guys that will help us next year.
Yeah, and for you to implement what you're doing at the high school level all the way down, your 6th graders are getting the same instruction your seniors are getting, which is huge.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our awards, and I know it's kind of hard to give middle school baseball awards, but even in 3 weeks of practice, you can see things about those guys that make them deserving of awards. Let's talk about the middle school Mr. Baseball Award for the year.
Okay, Mr. Baseball, difficult obviously to do with one whole scrimmage in 3 weeks of practice, but Jabin Moore is our Mr. Baseball, and a very deserving young man that's going to help us at a lot of different positions in high school, and shows a lot of potential, and that young man loves baseball, and I can't wait to have him in the high school program.
Very talented athlete for sure. Let's talk about the other middle school award that we give out, the baseball Guard Heart Award winner for this year.
Oh, two young men that kind of look alike, but Drew and David, they both do a great job. They're both, mildly spoken out on the baseball field. I heard they talk a lot at home, but out here they do their talking with bats and gloves and baseballs, and I'm impressed. Can't wait for them to be a part of the high school program.
Yeah, congratulations to Jabin Moore and then to Drew and David Sims on the Guard Heart Award. You're right, two kids that take care of business without being real loud. So let's move on and talk about the high school guys, because you did have more of a chance to have a season with those guys. They played a number of games.
Yep.
And so what were your thoughts on the year from beginning and even through the shutdown? Because I know that you had a lot of conversations with those guys even after that happened.
Did. Well, from the beginning, there's a lot of excitement, obviously, with the grand opening on February 8th out here, and 27 guys in the dugout, and lots of excitement from the community, which was awesome. I mean, just to be a part of Brook Hill baseball, where everyone seems to be bought in, is a wonderful thing. So, a talented group, and we did get to play 17 games. Obviously, the guys coming out of winter sports, didn't get to play that many at all. But we did have a successful season. I mean, we were 10-4-3, and with some quality wins against programs that I don't think Brook Hill has beat before. And so that was important for us, especially developing a camaraderie with the players. Very fun group of guys, and we've got guys coming back, but a really fun senior class.
Yeah, absolutely. Never a dull moment with those guys. But we'd be missing the boat here if we didn't talk about the new facility and what that meant, not just for the kids and practice time and getting games in. I know we sat here through rain in a couple of games, but what it means about the excitement and the potential for the program to continue to grow as people see what we're doing here and want to be a part of it.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. A facility like this, especially in East Texas, is a major statement about your investment in your program. And so to not just say that we're going to invest in baseball, but you look around at this facility and it is literally second to none. And so Mr. Fletcher and the board decided not to just fix our drainage problem, but to make a statement that we're very, very invested in baseball here. And so I'm excited, and I was excited coming into this year, and going throughout this shutdown, I was able to through obviously Zoom meetings and emails and YouTube. I'm on YouTube channel now, apparently with instructional videos, and so I enjoyed that, learning a lot, of things that I can do when I'm not with the guys that I think benefits us in the future, even as frustrating as it was. But I'll tell you what, this right here in this facility, just the beauty and the investment of it, but the ability to work day in and day out.
Right.
So I can wake up at 6 a.m. when it's storming and not worry.
Right.
It means I can go back to sleep for another hour, So.
And you hadn't had to push a rake.
No. I have messed around a little bit with the rubber, but that's about it.
So other than the park and the grand opening, which was a great day all around, what would be the one thing you'll look back on from this season and think, man, that's the one moment of the 2019-2020 season I remember, or the 2020 season?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously we had a big win at Lynch, which was a lot of fun. And the good thing about that was that we had a lot of guys contribute. Right. Had our older guys, and we had a couple younger guys that stepped up. That honestly, going into the season, I didn't know that they would be those kind of guys for us. And so I love the idea of overachieving. I love being on the field, looking across and going, maybe the other team's carrying a little bit more talent than us today, but if we can out execute them, we're gonna have a lot of fun. And that's what kind of day that was.
Makes it fun as a coach to do that. So in your first year at Brook Hill, and you've been coaching for a long time, you've been a part of a lot of baseball and seen a lot of baseball, I guess this is an easier question to ask you than some other coaches, but what would be the one thing that you learned about this program specifically this season from what happened and what the guys went through?
Well, I actually like Seth Moss. That's
different when you're playing against him.
Different. Different when you're playing against him. And I told him that the other day. And I said, when you look across the field, sometimes, you're not necessarily looking at, who they really are, but just how annoying it is that they're on base all the time. They're getting hits all the time. So I did, specifically really enjoy developing that relationship with him this year. But I'll tell you what, the Brook Hill baseball program is ripe to be strong year in and year out, and we've got plenty of talent. we've got actually very great families and very helpful families that as soon as I got here and bought in with me and helped me, and I've always told people over the years, many years of coaching high school baseball, if families will buy in and work with me and help me help their child, we'll be very successful. And I love the idea of overachieving. And I thought we did a great year of getting, what we got in this year, that we got the most out of our guys.
Well, I think that it's important that you say that, because any coach ever, there's always those guys you say, man, if that guy was on my team, I'd probably love him. But right now, I don't. Seth's a competitor, and I know that he appreciates you saying that about him. So let's talk about your awards. A little bit of a shortened season, but enough to kind of get a good look at most guys. Some of them, as you mentioned, coming out of winter sports, got a little less opportunity to show what they can do. But you were with them, and you know what they can do, and you've seen those. So let's start with the awards. Let's start with Mr. Baseball for 2020.
Okay. Well, I kind of stole the thunder a little bit there. But Mr. Baseball for this year, obviously Seth Moss. Seth came in here, and we played 17 games, and that sucker stole 20 bags and hit over 400 and scored 26 runs. But the thing is that you can run through that young man's stats, but the reality is that he helped me implement what I wanted to implement this year, and I needed that more than anything else, because I'm looking for a successful future in our program. Not just what we could get done this year, but he set a tone that allowed me to have a good relationship with the players, and I'll be grateful for that forever.
When all of your best players buy in, it helps you, and especially in the first year, and for him to be one of those guys and completely buy in was huge for the program.
Absolutely.
So congratulations to Seth. Let's talk about the MVP award, more of what's on the field and what you see physically, but who was your 2020 MVP award?
Well, MVP award, I'm going to be honest with you, this is a crazy season, which you've mentioned before, but with a shortened season and two of our strongest players playing winter sports, which we love the fact that here at Brook Hill we've got guys that play multiple sports. Absolutely. And so we have two guys representing us at MVP this year, and both guys came out shortened season but put up ridiculous numbers in the short time they were here, and that's sophomore Grayson Murray and senior Jake Schaefer.
And you're talking about two guys who have a phenomenal skill set.
Yes.
And of course Jake will be leaving us, but has meant so much to the program overall. But Grayson moving forward, a huge part of what's going to happen.
Absolutely, yeah. Grayson's numbers, if you projected them out over a year, which is never fair to do because of the way baseball works, but that young man was going to put up some phenomenal numbers this year had we played a full season. And I can't wait to see him play a full season in the next 2 years.
And multiple coaches have said this about Jake Schaefer, but he's kind of like the ultimate Swiss Army knife, because he can do it in the plate, he can do it in the field, and he can do it on the mound, which is something we didn't really know until last year, I guess, but he can do all three.
Yeah, unfortunately he can do all three, and I barely got to use him. He hopped out here in 5 games and had 7 doubles, a triple, and and looked great on the mound. That young man, I guess, to be honest with you, I feel as bad for him in the short season as anybody, because that young man worked so hard in the winter to make sure his arm was ready to go, because I know he loves soccer and he had such a great year and helped that program out, and he was so looking forward to being out here. So great kid.
Fully committed to everything he did. Absolutely. All right, and our final award, the 2020 Guard Hart Award winner for baseball.
Okay. Well, once again, I'd split it up because I'm looking at these guys, and so many guys fall in these categories, but I went with 2 seniors this year, both young men who welcomed me and welcomed the new style of baseball, which I appreciated, and they really bought in. One switched positions in his senior year for me, and the other one bought into how I wanted him to attack hitters as a pitcher, and it's Mason York and Cole Fitzgerald.
And 2 guys that you never had to question their effort or their intensity or their energy levels and really their coachability.
Right.
Mason specifically on the mound, you and I have had this conversation multiple times about there are a lot of games early on this season that you're not even competitive in without Mason's on the mound abilities.
No, it can be argued that he literally carried us, through that. I say the first half of the season, it was the only half of the season, but he carried us because, and when my dad came to watch us play, he goes, that's the epitome of a guy who pitches for you. Just take care of base runners and pound the strike zone. And I said, and he does it every single day exactly the way you ask him to do it. I hate to see him go.
Absolutely. And Cole, you mentioned switch positions from being a guy that spent a lot of time behind the plate to now going to the outfield. But even forget about that. If you're talking about the epitome of the Guard Hart Award, a guy that spends all of his free time working in the volunteer fire department here and helping serve others in that way, and you can't even put into words a lot of times what Cole is.
No. He's the only guy that's allowed to just take off in the middle of practice and leave.
Which he has.
Yeah. He did 3 times this year. But he was on the way to help somebody. And so, but I mean, his willingness to buy into what I asked him to do this year, I said, listen, man, if the guy that flies around like you do, and all this green out here now, I said, I need you. I need your help out there. And there's a lot of young men that wouldn't have taken that well.
Right.
And he did a great job for me. I really appreciate it.
A great senior class, and I know we could talk all day about a lot of them, but I know the season was a great success, and I know you guys are excited for next January to get a full season in.
Yes.
As we kick things off and playing some new teams in a new district and getting to do some different things, but I know we're excited about that. So thank you guys for coming out today, and we'll talk to you guys soon. All right, so we're talking a little girls basketball today with Coach Malcolm Dotson and Coach Paige Holland. And Coach, it was an interesting year from the very beginning for a lot of reasons, but let's talk about the middle school first. And that's a group that from the very beginning, I think we all three saw something special about them.
Oh, yeah, they stepped themselves apart with their approach to practice. Every day was a positive experience. I think we spoke about it, all of us. The best part of our day was the morning practice with middle school girls because of actually, due to Paige and the volleyball program, they're instilling that character within the girls to perform like that.
I think that all the coaches agree the middle school programs this year, on the girls' side especially, took a big step forward with their approach and their attitude for sure. Success oftentimes defined by wins and losses. I think in middle school you get confused with that and development, and I think that even though the wins weren't there, the development was there.
Oh yes, definitely the development was there. Some of them couldn't chew and walk at the same time to start the season, and by the end of the season they could make a textbook layup. The girls were understanding the concept of basketball as the season was coming to an end, which is good because they'll start next year on a good foot.
And I think it's important that they recognize that, and I think they did for the most part. All right, let's talk about awards for middle school, and let's start with the Middle School Miss Basketball Award.
All right, it's my honor to present the Miss Basketball Award for 2019-2020 to Dre Tomerwood.
And Dre, a hard worker who came in and did everything we asked her to do the entire time. All right, the middle school girls basketball Guard Hart Award winner.
It's my privilege to present the 2019-2020 Guard Hart Award to Anna Hall.
Anna's a kid that we all talked about all year long, so positive and grew so much, and I think will continue to do so. Let's talk about the high school year a little bit. Obviously, a program that has some girls in it that I think they turned the corner is the best way to say it, and talk a little bit about the season as a whole.
I'm very proud of our girls. They were very resilient. We started the season with 8 girls. One couldn't play because she was injured from a pre-existing injury. We played most of the season with 7, 6 at some times. Right. We played 1 game with 6, had 2 foul out, finished the game with 4 players in the fourth quarter and earned a victory.
That's right.
We didn't make the playoffs like we wanted to, but they fought hard every game regardless of wins and losses, and they finished the year with the back.
And so that leads me to the next question. If you were to remember one night, I don't even have to ask. I think nobody has to ask, but what would be the one memory from the year for those of you who were hiding under a rock?
That's definitely our last game against Grace. We were out of the playoffs. We couldn't make the playoffs. Grace, it was their senior night. They needed to win to make the playoffs. We talk about resiliency. We started the game down 8-0. By halftime, it was 15-20. We were still down 5. By the fourth quarter, we had made our way down 1, eventually taking the lead and winning the game 37-30. That was a great night.
And I think it speaks to that resiliency because...
Hold on 1 second. Don't forget you can check out the highlights and other happenings within Brook Hill Athletics on the Brook Hill Athletics Facebook page.
Okay, there you go, Coach. Shameless plug. We'll go with that. All right, so I think, but it speaks to that resiliency because 2 of the biggest buckets of the night, actually 3 of the biggest buckets by 2 of the players that stepped up to most, and I know the 2 turnarounds by Neely Clark and then the big shot by Macy Wilson at the end, 2 players who was resilient the whole night.
Oh yeah, Macy had her biggest game, but I almost lost it when Neely pulled off the Hakeem Olajuwon turnaround off the glass. I almost lost it, but Macy came along and showed exactly what you should expect for the next 2 years.
Absolutely, two big performances, a bunch of big performances that night, and a big win, probably the biggest one in a long time for the program. All right, let's talk about some awards. in a year where the wins and losses don't show up, I think a lot of people performed well, and I think these award winners are deserving. Let's start with the 2019-2020 Miss Basketball Award winner.
Okay, it's my honor to present the 2019-2020 Miss Basketball Award to Alyssa Luker.
And Alyssa's a kid, been in the program for a long time, had some big moments throughout the course of the year.
Alyssa Luker was our captain, great player, very coachable, respects your teammates, supports your teammates, extremely unselfish. Would do anything I asked her to do. Mind you, she shot 40% from the three. We're going to miss that next year.
Yeah, a big part of the program that there'll be a big hole now in the program. Talk about the MVP, the 2019-2020 basketball MVP.
All right, it's my honor to present the 2019-2020 MVP award to Caitlin Jasper.
And Kat played a big part in the season now for 2 years, and I think really took a big step in her growth this year.
Yes, she led the team in points and steals. I mean, she has tremendous defensive ability and the ability to score. Those assets were huge to the team, obviously. MVP.
Yep, there you go. Very deserving for Kat in that one. And finally, the third award, the Basketball Guard Heart Award.
Oh, the Guard Heart Award. Definitely proud to present the 2019-2020 Guard Heart Award to Macy Wilson.
Macy, another kid that's been a part of the program for a long time and gives everything she's got every day on the floor.
Every time I think about talking about it, the same thing happens. I just shake my head first. Macy is a player that you want to have on your team. Her passion, her determination, the support and respect toward her teammates, coachability, everything that you want in a player, and we haven't even talked about her skill set.
That's right.
They call her Money Mace for a reason. So don't be surprised next year if she scores 25 or 30 at some point.
She has the potential to do that. So we're excited about next year. There's one big player gone, Alyssa, but everybody else is back, and so it'll be a fun year here in the gym. All right, I'm here with the boys soccer staff, head coach David Collins, Coach Parker O'Quinn, Coach Austin Reed, and here to talk about the year that the boys soccer program had. It was a successful one, especially the high school level. But Coach, let's talk about the middle school first. Talk a little about the middle school season and how that went for the young guys.
The middle school season, you use the word young. That's a really good word to describe those guys. Not many 8th graders on the team. We started and played a lot of 6th graders, and so this year was I would deem this year a success for them, as far as from day one to the end, the improvement that team made and the development that those kids showed was tremendous. And we were right there in the tournament. We got beat in the semifinals of the tournament, but it was a very close game, a game that we could have won. And so I'm really proud of those guys, and very similar to the girls program, the middle school boys has a ton of potential, and these guys are definitely going to lead our program in the right direction.
You know, it's funny because I think a lot of times the middle school people still want to get caught up in the wins and the losses part of it as opposed to developing the program for the future. I think that's what you've seen over the course of time is the work you guys have put into the middle school program over the last 5, 6, 7 years has started to pay off for you at the high school level.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's really important to me is, you know, being as hands-on in the middle school program as I have the ability to be is, you know, you can throw great athletes in certain places and not play great soccer and have a chance to win, but that doesn't solve your situation when you get to high school, right? Because everybody's got speed and everybody can play, you know, so it's important to me in the middle school to develop these kids into soccer players and to learn to play the system that I want them to play, so that, like you said, when they get to high school, they're ready to contribute and continue what we've got going on up there.
However, it still is important to have success at the middle school level. Let's talk a little bit about some awards for our middle school boys soccer program. Coach, let's go ahead and start with our 2019-2020 Middle School Mr. Soccer Award.
It's a privilege today for me to give our Mr. Soccer Award to Gabriel DiMandante. He was our goalkeeper. He has had a tremendous 3 years in the middle school, and I am really excited to get him up into the high school. A high-quality goalkeeper that is going to be a staple for our program for the future.
All right, and Coach, how about your 2019-2020 Middle School Boys Guard Heart Award winner for soccer?
The Guard Heart Award for middle school soccer really is a no-brainer for this award. It goes to Calvi Courtney. He is a high-quality young man who loves the Lord. You know, he leads our team spiritually on the field. He prays for us every day at practice, and I'm really honored to give that award to him.
Congratulations to Gabriel and Calvi both on their awards. Coach, let's move on and talk about the high school. And I think everybody kind of knows where the season ended, but kind of give your thoughts on the entire season from beginning to end.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable ride with these guys. You know, we've been blessed with some amazing soccer guys. You know, and this team, I think, is possibly the highest quality team that maybe we've ever had at Brook Hill. You know, they're not the most athletic team we've ever had, and they're not the most dynamic. But you talk about a group of guys who came together, who understood their role, and on the field truly believed that the team is more important than themselves. There's no doubt that that's what led us to the success that we have. You know, you can look at all the different players that we had and through every round of the playoffs and the entire season, and it was a different guy stepping up all the time. You know, and that's the measure of a high-quality team. And you know, sometimes you need a little bit of luck, but you need guys all on the same page, working for the same goal to accomplish your goal, and there's no doubt that these guys did that this year.
I think it's funny you say that because I think every week, or especially during the playoffs, no matter which game it was always a different guy that stepped up along the way, which said a lot about the group as a whole. I guess what would be the one memory from the season that you will remember? I know there's probably a lot of them and it's hard to narrow it down to one, but what would be the one, I guess, if you had to list one?
With these guys, I think it's the camaraderie that these guys had together as a team. You know, obviously we went to the state finals and we had tremendous success on the field, but I think that the way these guys are as a team and the way that they were committed to Brook Hill, committed to us as coaches, and committed to each other, I think sets them apart from any other team that I've really ever coached. They are just a group of guys that was a joy to be around, who loved the game of soccer and truly loved each other, and it made the ride so enjoyable to get to be around them and to get to coach those guys for the months that I had them.
When you have a group like that, I know you had to learn something from them or about them. What was the one thing I guess you learned from the team this year and from the program, or about the program as a whole?
I think that coaches talk about it all the time about, you know, leadership and character of your team. And, you know, the one thing that this team showed me is that when you have quality leaders on the field, right, and your team exhibits the type of character that these guys exhibit, it truly does bring to light and prove that those things, added with talent, obviously you have to have quality talent, but those things make a difference. You know, when you have that, you know, it's never easy, and our playoff run was difficult. You know, we played a lot of one-goal games, and it was a battle for every round, which it should be for the playoffs. But when you have a team where these guys truly are on the same page the way they are, you know, it overcomes a lot, and I think it just showed, and it gives you that extra boost that what you're really doing really does matter. You know,
it verifies it's not always the best players that go all the way. It's the best team, but it just helps when those guys can play too, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes a difference. All right, let's talk about our awards, Coach, and let's start with the 2019-2020 Upper School Mr. Soccer Awards.
I'm really honored to give the Upper School Mr. Soccer Award this year. It's going to be a co-award, and the two recipients of this award are going to be Jake Schaefer and Winston Hebert. These two guys have led our program. Jake's been playing soccer at Brook Hill for 7 years. Winston, his 4-year high school career, have set the standard for what leadership and character and what it truly means to represent a program. And I am really excited to honor both of those guys today.
Congratulations to Jake and Winston, definitely deserving. Let's talk about the Soccer MVP Award for 2019-2020.
Yeah, our soccer MVP is going to go to Zahar Zapolsky. You know, this guy has been tremendous. He's been here since middle school, and this year was by far his best season yet. He is a junior. I'm excited to get him back next year, but he held down the middle really well for us and was a great asset to us, especially in our playoff run that we had this season.
And finally, Coach, the 2019-2020 Soccer Guard Heart Award.
I am honored to give the Guard Hart Award this year for the boys varsity soccer team to Josh Collins. He sets an example with his character. He's someone that is definitely a leader on the team, and looking forward to the next 2 years with him in the program.
Well, congratulations to these award winners and coaches. Thanks for coming out, and let's go back next year and try to finish it off a little better than we had last year. I think we'll take state runner-up, but state champion. It'd be nice to put a banner up on the wall and get my man here another ring. Thanks, guys. All right, so I'm here with the softball staff here at the Brook Hill School with head coach Anthony Springer, assistants Lindsay Flores and Sonora Duty, and to talk about a season that really never got off the ground, so to speak. And let's talk about the middle school first, coach, because this is a group that came out and worked for 3 or 4 weeks, was getting prepared to play games, and then all of a sudden we go over spring break and they stay at home, so no games. Talk a little bit about that and kind of what that looked like, I guess, overall.
Yeah, that was the kids came out and they were working hard. We had 3 weeks into it. Then spring break came, and we were excited about when we got back. We were going to start playing our district games, and so unfortunately, we didn't make it to that point.
Well, you know, you have a number of kids in the program that have been in it for a while, and then I know the challenge for you always is getting new kids in the program to play that maybe haven't played before. Talk a little bit about, I guess, your numbers and the girls who had not been a part of it before. I know there were a number of them.
Yeah, we had quite a few new kids to the sport, so we kind of went out, and a lot of them wanted to come out and try it for the first time, and then we had about a handful that have been playing over the years, either playing league ball or some travel ball as well.
Talk about the advantage you have of having a middle school program as opposed to a lot of public schools around here who don't have that, and how it benefits you to be able to work with them for 3 years before they get to the high school team.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage for us because we're teaching the same drills we teach the middle school. We work with our varsity, so it helps us kind of as a foundation, set the foundation and have a really solid foundation as they transition into the high school program.
And so many coaches are in a spot where they come in their freshman year, they have no idea what you're talking about. Now these girls hear it when they're 11, 12 years old. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I know awards are hard to give in a shortened season, or no season in the middle school's case. Let's talk about some awards, and I think these maybe lean back to more of what you've done in the program your entire time here as opposed to this one season. Let's talk about first your 2020 Miss Softball for the middle school.
Yeah, Miss Softball, she has been here for many years, has played year-round, so and she's always been one of our pillars to the program, and that's going to be Landry McNeil.
So. Landry does a good job, and definitely one of your key 8th graders, especially moving up. You're going to need them going forward. Let's talk about your middle school 2020 Softball Guard Hart Award winner.
Yeah, this other player, her heart is just huge for others, and she walks the walk and talks the talk, and also swings a great bat, and that's Gracie Dawson.
2 great softball players that are in 8th grade now moving forward, and like you said, will be a part of what we do going forward. Let's transition into the high school game, and you got to play 7 non-district games and got to see some good teams early on, but talk about the work that went into preseason and those games you did get to play before we were done.
Yeah, we always try to start our preseason games out. We as they're transitioning in from basketball, a lot of our kids are dual sport athletes and are multi-sport athletes. As they transition in, we always try to speed the game up. So we go after some pretty good competition, playing some public schools, some of the top public schools around, to speed the game up so that later on when we get to district, hopefully it slows it down for us. And we were in that process right now, playing those tough teams. So.
What, I guess, if you were to look back and kind of project what the year could have looked like for you, not so much about who else you would have played, but where was your team headed and where did you kind of envision that this year ending for them?
Yeah, I think the squad we had, it was a young squad. We had no seniors on the team at all. It was mainly juniors and sophomores, and the team was kind of gearing up and getting in the right lane to basically go back and repeat and get back to the state championship. I think we had a very good opportunity to get back there.
I know it was short, but what would kind of be the one thing you'll look back on this year and say, man, that's what I'll remember about this group?
We had some kids that were really stepping up and kind of finding the roles. It was a young team still trying to figure it out, but they're kind of identifying. It was kind of fun to watch these kids fall into their leadership roles and kind of take charge of the program and kind of make it their own program. And just the grittiness of them. We had, Callie Bailey takes a line drive to the leg and stays in the game and continues to pitch. Just some of those kind of memories there. The big thing is, I'm going to probably go away just not knowing the memories we lost this year. A lot of these kids didn't get their opportunity to kind of repeat and go back after it again. So
definitely fair. Now, the one memory that I'm going to bring up, and I know you guys would agree with this, is the first time ever a JV win this year. First time, if not ever in a long time.
Yeah.
You ever put together a JV team and go down to Alto and get that win in their first game? Talk a little bit about how that happened and what it meant for the entire program to have that.
Yeah, honestly, that's the first JV team we've ever had at the history of the school, and it was made up of a lot of international kids. We had kids from Spain and Poland, and it was actually some of the most funnest times I've had here coaching, just watching these kids completely be new to the sport and basically come in here and just fall in love with the sport, and just the kids were just really loving it and having a great time.
A lot of them that had never seen it.
No, never even knew what softball was, and came in and just embraced it and just were having a great time, and we were having a great time coaching them. And for them to go out and come out the first game ever in our program and get the win, where deep down I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be rough, and the kids stepped up, and it was so fun to watch them make some plays that I didn't think they were ready for yet, but they did it. So.
I know that's a memory a lot of people are going to remember. In the short time you had them, and you just kind of hit on this a little bit, but what would be, I guess, I think every coach every year learns something about themselves or the program or their kids throughout the course of a season, and even a shortened season. What would be the thing, I guess, you're going to take away that, man, I don't know if I knew that, but now I do?
Just the fact that the program has had a pretty good foundation, and we keep, we've been able and blessed to reload again, and kids stepping up, and I wasn't sure which kids were going to do that, and just knowing the fact that we're good for next year. We're going to come out and hopefully we'll return everybody and get back after it again. And we have some kids that are ready and they're going to step up.
A lot of coaches would love to have everybody back next year. You get that opportunity. All right, so let's move on to the awards. And once again, shortened season, hard to do awards, but I think that you definitely have a lot of young ladies deserving of these awards. Let's start off first, Coach, with the 2020 Miss Softball Award winner.
Yeah, I mean. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to play it all out, so I'm kind of going off of end of last year and then what I saw this year, where we're headed. Sophia Arnold is a kid who's going to be my Miss Softball. She's a kid I can ask her to do anything, play any position. She'll go out and pitch, outfield, shortstop, catch. If I ask her to catch, she'll do anything I want her to do, and she just gives it everything she has. She's not a flashy player, but she was an all-stater last year at the state tournament, came in clutch. This year she was leading the team in the batting average, and on-base percentage came out just consistent, super consistent. So Sophia Arnold's going to be our Miss Softball.
Absolutely, and loves the game. Let's talk about your 2020 softball MVP.
Our MVP is going to be co-MVPs. I have Callie Bailey and Macy Wilson are going to be our MVPs. Both of them actually came to Brook Hill back in the lower school and have been a part of this program, and both of them are also similar to Sophia, will play any position I need them to do, just get the job done. Callie Bailey, I wasn't really anticipating using her as like our ace, but she stepped into that role when she needed to and came out and handled the pitching position and did a fantastic job for us, so I'm excited about where she's headed. And then Macy also just super reliable and just gets her job done, gets our on-base percentages very well, good, and she's just she knows that both of them know the game very well. So.
Yeah, and caught for you last year in the state championship game, and then now playing in the infield.
Now playing middle infield for us. Yeah, exactly.
And then our final award, the 2020 Softball Guard Hart Award winner.
Yeah, this year's Guard Hart is another kid that's been here for quite a few years, and just love her heart for her teammates, and her actions definitely speak louder than her words. She's just consistent and encouraging to her teammates. She's our leader, spiritual leader on the team. We call her the bishop also as well, and that's Neely Clark. So she's well deserving of this award, and just a good human being.
Absolutely, Coach. I'm excited for you. Congratulations to those four award winners for winning those 3 awards. And Coach, I'm excited for next year and you guys having everybody back and what that's going to look like and to make up for this lost season, hopefully. So, thanks you guys for coming out, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, so I'm here with Coach Bill Littlefield to talk a little golf. And Coach, I know that this year was obviously cut short with everybody being sent home and the virus and the shutdown. But talk a little bit about your golfers and the work they've been putting in, because I know those guys and those ladies have been working hard.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Coach, we were on our way to the best season ever. But COVID said no. Yep. We started work when we came back from Christmas, cold, wet. Kids never complained. We got out work, getting ready for the spring season. We were excited to get the season going.
And a lot of guys and girls back. And you were looking at a strong year of having a lot of experienced players and a lot of guys that were just excited about their senior season. You hate to see it cut short, but talk a little bit about what those kids have meant to the program, because some of the guys and girls who are going to be leaving us now have been a huge part of it for a long time.
Oh, definitely. Let's start with the boys. That was an interesting team I had. 3 seniors and 2 freshmen. And we were playing well. We were playing very well, and that's why I was so excited. And to see those seniors, especially Greg and Jack, they were 4-year people. They had been to state tournaments. They'd been to the regional tournaments all 4 years. This was their year, right. And I just feel for them, because we had a shot. I mean, we'd already beaten Dallas Christian.
There you go.
So that was a big plus. The girls, probably the strongest since I've been here. Yeah. And I've had a couple of strong teams.
Right.
The 2 young ladies from Res Life came in. They were legit players. Already had 3 or 4 legits, and the girls were ready to go. And again, for Caroline and Laurel, such a shame. Such a shame.
It is unfortunate. Now, Coach, you've been around a lot of golf and seen high-level golfers at the pro level, and the college level, and the high school level. Talk a little bit about not just the seniors losing, but talk about the younger players, because I know you and I have talked numerous times about your young players, and they have some ability to continue the tradition here.
They do, and that was their goal. We haven't brought home a state golf championship in quite a few years.
Right.
We've been knocking on the door. The young ones could see that they could do it. They were 1 or 2 golfers away from doing that. So the young ones, what's coming up, are going to be exceptional. The girls are going to be even as strong as they were.
Right.
We have a couple of 8th graders that are moving up. Then we have 3 or 4 returning. Especially if the Res Life girls come back,
right.
All the girls are going to be great next year.
Strong tradition, strong history. Let's talk about some awards, Coach. Let's start on the girls' side, and let's talk about the 2020 Miss Golf Award winner.
Miss Golf Award, it was not hard to pick. And the young lady that the school knows, athletics, academics, she was our team leader for the years she was with me, Miss Laurel Reed. She was the state competitor last year, and looking forward to it again this year. And that's why she represented Brook Hill Golf, and that's why I named Laurel Reed as my Miss Golf.
And she's somebody that will be missed in a number of areas. Let's talk about your girls golf MVP for this school year.
For this year, it was young ladies only been playing golf 2 years, and first year the first tournament she entered, I think she shot like a 127. As before the season ended, she was shooting 88. Caroline Welty was our most valuable player this year. She never complained. She worked. First one there, last one to leave. She was the epitome of your most valuable player.
And another senior that will be missed in a number of ways. And the third award that we give in each sport, your 2020 Golf Guard Heart Award winner.
My 2020 golf winner, young lady that is starting her 3rd season, Miss Olivia Kim. Nicknamed her Nugget. Nugget, oh goodness gracious. Talk about the life of the party. She was there to uplift everyone. I don't care how bad you were playing. She was bragging on you. She was hugging on you. I never saw her down. And she was so uplifting for the team. And that's why I named her our Heart Award.
And just real quick about Olivia, she's one who came in focused. I remember her freshman year coming in with a good group of seniors with Emma French and then Morgan Carpenter being that group too. And she was never fazed by being around that group of strong golfers. So Olivia is very deserving and a very focused individual.
She is.
Let's talk about the boys a little bit, because you mentioned you have 3 seniors, 2 freshmen, and 2 of these seniors especially have been here for a long time, a big part of what the golf program has been. Let's talk about your Mr. Golf Award winner.
Well, Mr. Golf, probably one of the most outgoing young men on this campus, and I'm very honored to give this award to Mr. Greg Goetz. Greg's 4-year letterman. I've been to regionals 4 years, or well, he would have been 4 years. He represents Brook Hill golf.
He does, absolutely, and it helps when you throw up a low number every once in a while.
Every week it is.
Let's talk about the second award, the MVP award. And, obviously the MVP award is usually stat-driven, and obviously I think you can't go wrong here with a number of choices.
Oh, my MVP, I'm so thrilled to give it to this young man. Another one, 4 years with the golf program. Never slows down, never gives up. Plays well every time we get on the course. This year's winner was Mr. Jack Berry. Jack's a senior, and I was so hoping to see he and Greg at the state tournament to get the award that they needed this year.
And I know those are two guys that have just been preparing so much, and you hate to see it taken away from them, but they both got bright futures, whether it's golf or not. And as we move forward in the next school year, hey, one of the first things you can do now, Coach, in social distancing is go out and play some golf. So go out and do that, and we'll see you guys next year on the golf course. All right, so I'm here with the coaches of the Brook Hill Cadets, Coach Tiffany Hubbard, Coach Catherine Ford, and this is a program that you guys took over. I think this is now your second year?
I think we're ending our third.
Ending the third year. So this program that you guys have had your hands on now for 3 full years. And talk a little bit about how it's evolved from where you started to where you are now.
I think the Cadets originally started as kind of a parent voluntarily kind of started. They wanted to have a dance team, drill team. It's Texas football. Of course, you got to have a drill team at halftime. And so it kind of started as a small group of girls who wanted to participate. 3 years ago when Coach Ford and I took it, our goal was to grow the program, make it a successful program, and also allow girls whose talent is in the dance field more than cheer. They're also leaders on campus, just in a kind of a different way.
And I think that they've grown in their responsibilities too, to where I'm not sure they expected it at first, and now you just expect to see them in pep rallies and at football games and this kind of stuff. So, but talk a little bit about, I guess, how their year went. I know they went to the TAPS competition as well, and talk a little bit about what they did from August until now.
Okay, so to kind of address what you're talking about is them taking ownership and getting some more responsibilities. Coach Ford and I decided 2 years ago that instead of separating our teams, we were going to have one big umbrella of Brook Hill Guard Spirit teams. And I think that's allowed us to have some cohesiveness between the teams. Everybody has their own role, but also it provides a group of people who their main job is to promote spirit. So yeah, they did get some responsibilities they probably weren't expecting. I think they've taken it on well. I think they've done a great job with it. We went to TAPS competition last year for the second time, just kind of as an experience. We were young, some inexperienced dancers. This year when we went, we kind of did the same thing with them as we did with cheer. Like, what's our goal? Are we going to have fun? Are we going to win? So that Coach Ford and I had an idea of like, kind of where's your mind, and their goal was to finish top 6. We went down there with, you take 2 routines, so you go prelims and then finals. After prelims, they were in tied for 6th place, and so as they were going into finals, we didn't tell them what place they were in. We just kind of said, you know, y'all really need to pull this off and do well, and so they ended up finishing 5th place. We were super proud of them. It's a huge achievement for them to finish 5th with, as far as experience of dancers that we have on our team compared to like 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, it's not even close. Brent Allen was named to All-State Turn Company there, and so we walked away with some individual awards that was really good for them individually.
And what you're starting to see is a lot of girls interested in being a part of that team and growing number-wise, and also some excitement about it. I know that you guys just completed tryouts, and you've got, I don't know exactly how many, but probably close to as many as you've had on the drill team since you guys have been a part of it. And talk a little bit about the excitement in the future going forward.
So I think anytime a program is successful, it makes people want to be a part of it. This year we had more than ever since we've been in charge want to try out. I think that as we move forward and we get more and more successful and more in the public eye, we'll have more and more girls who want to be a part.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about some awards, and let's start with the 2019-2020 Miss Cadet Award.
Miss Cadet is Captain Hannah Weber. Congratulations. Hannah has been captain for 2 years, so her junior and senior year she was captain. She is a great leader, always willing to help everyone. She's been a part of it since her sophomore year, I believe. An officer sophomore year, captain junior, captain senior, and is just a great role model for these girls.
Absolutely, and one of the seniors you're going to miss next year. Let's talk about the 2019-2020 cadet MVP.
MVP is Bryn Allen. Bryn Allen is a dancer that if you watch her dance, it's hands down. She is unbelievable. Give you chills when you watch her. She stands out on the line always in her technique and her ability. She has grown up in the TJC dance organization and is just phenomenal.
All right, and your third award, your 2019-2020 Cadet Guard Heart Award winner.
So the Guard Heart Award goes to Rachel Berkeley. Rachel joined Cadets her junior year. She has great motivation to her teammates. She's always supportive, always positive, is a great leader, also our valedictorian, so that tells you that she's trying to manage a lot of stuff too. So congratulations, Rachel.
Absolutely. Congratulations to all three ladies, and the Cadets will see you real soon. All right, I'm here with Coach Mallory Winkler, head trainer here at the Brook Hill School. And Coach, I know that on Friday nights and Tuesday nights, people see you out there if students need assistance or athletes are injured. But what people don't see a lot of times are the guys who are behind the scenes and helping you. So I know we have a number of student trainers that have helped out this year. Talk a little bit about how many of those guys you have and kind of the role they play for you.
Yeah, so this year we had about 7 or 8 on our staff. Our student athletic trainers, they assist in all sports on every sideline. They're there for beginning of practice to the end of practice. They're there for the setup of the game, every travel that we take for every football game. They're there setting it up. They're behind the guys. They are the team behind the team.
You know, it's funny because people don't realize that as a coach, when we get on a bus to go out of town, there's always a trainer that's with us. Yeah. I know football's a little different because there's so many people, but if there's a baseball game or a basketball game, there's somebody on the bus with us, and I know those guys play a huge role in what we do. Talk a little bit about what they mean to you, because I know that you have a lot of responsibility in that training world, and so to have those guys probably takes a lot off of you.
Yeah, so whenever I'm more concerned about the major injuries, all of those guys, they're pretty well trained in first aid, blood care, whatever the guys need. If they need a simple wrist tape job, they need an ankle tape job. We learned that this year. It's been a privilege to get to even teach them those type of skills.
Not many schools our size have the facilities we have and the manpower to do what we do, so it's pretty neat to have that. So one of the things that we've not done in the past, we're going to do starting this year, is have our Student Trainer of the Year award. You've had some good ones.
Yeah.
And I think what's fun is that there are a lot of guys who used to be athletes or other athletes in other sports, and this is just a way to keep them involved. So the first ever 2019-2020 Student Trainer of the Year award, Coach, you can go ahead and present that award.
Yeah, so this year it is my privilege to award the Student Athletic Trainer to Brian Lee. He is a senior this year. He is the guy in charge. He is the leader of our team. It's going to be crazy without him next year, and we will miss him dearly. Yep.
Yeah, congrats to Brian, and Coach, thanks for what you do. And I know that this is an interesting thing that we get to do in the athletic training world with our students being involved. And so Brian will be missed. I know he does a big part of what we do here. So thanks, Coach Winkler, and we'll see you next year.
All right, yep, see y'all.
All right, so we're here to talk a little track and field with the track coaches, Coach Paige Holland, Coach Josh Potter, Coach Lauren Sykes, Coach Malcolm Dotson, and Coach Joey Wilson. And Coach, I know this year was a little different because the season was cut short, but talk a little bit about the work you guys were putting in before we got sent home at spring break.
Well, we did have a month to get some work in. Things were going really well. Track and field is a little bit different than a lot of sports. It's about 26 different events, so it takes a lot of help to do that. These guys, coaches here, have really been helpful, and I can't express my appreciation to them enough. But we had a month to try to get something done.
Let's talk about the middle school first, because that's the group that everybody participates in. They practiced for their 3 or 4 weeks with no meet, so to speak. But talk a little bit about the work they were putting in and kind of what those kids were doing.
Well, we had a group this year that seemed to be more interested in track and field than maybe in the years past. A lot of young kids. There was a lot of excitement. It was definitely a group that we anticipated doing well this year.
Yeah, and so you're looking at a group that you lose some 8th graders who had done really well in previous years in district competition. But as you look at what they've accomplished, let's talk about some awards for this group. And I know it's tough in a year where the middle school didn't have a meet. But let's start with the girls and let's talk about the Miss Track Award winner for this year.
Well, the Miss Track Award winner this year is Kaylee Fitzgerald. She's a young lady that I guess what best describes her is just a work ethic that's unbelievable. She was one of a few of our 8th grade athletes that would come back in the afternoons and work. So she was very interested in track and field and very deserving of the award.
The other award for girls is the Guard Hart Award for middle school girls track.
The Guard Hart Award for girls track goes to Lily Driggers. Lily was a young lady that showed a tremendous amount of leadership, a very positive individual, one whose character and spirit was unquestionable.
All right, so let's move on and talk about boys this year in the middle school boys track. Who was the Mr. Track Award winner for boys middle school?
The Mr. Track Award for the boys goes to Aaron Wynn. Aaron is a young man that has shown a lot of interest in track, even in his elementary days. Extremely hard worker, one that also is very deserving of the Mr. Track Award.
Absolutely. All right, Coach, let's talk about high school. You did get one meet in with a high school group, I believe, and a lot of big expectations in a number of ways for the group this year. Talk a little bit about what they had done and what you were expecting.
Well, as I said earlier, we had a month of preparation, and we were able to attend the track meet at Winona. A very competitive meet that our kids did extremely well in, and again, this was a year that we felt like that we had several state qualifiers. I feel for our seniors because those that probably I'm referring to were seniors.
Yeah, and a number of guys who had been at the track meet, state track meet the year before, especially on the field side of things, that didn't get a chance to compete. But talk a little bit about, I guess, what you remember of this group. And I know there wasn't a lot necessarily from this year, but when you look back on this group and this season, what's going to come to your mind?
Probably the thing that comes to my mind first and foremost is how dependable they were to be here and to prepare, and how competitive they were. And sometimes in the meets that we participated in, we were going up against a lot of public schools, but they just never backed down to the competition.
Absolutely. And Coach, you've been involved in track, and these coaches have been involved in track for a long time. It's really one of those sports to where the reward is internal a lot of times because it's you against everybody else. It's a team event, but it's also an individual event. What do you think that our kids are going to take away from their time in track here at Brook Hill?
Well, I think that probably the thing I hope they take away from it is just what you mentioned, is the fact that, within a team concept, there's individual accountability. And track is a sport that really promotes that. Yes, there's team awards, but without the individuals doing their part in each event, it really doesn't work out well.
I think you learn a lot about yourself when you're out here on the track, and everybody's watching you. And if you're not performing as well as you could have, everybody sees, and that's tough, I know. Let's talk about some awards, and let's start on the girls' side, and let's talk about the 2019-2020 Miss Track Award winner.
Okay, the 2020 Miss Track Award winner is Diana Ramirez. Diana has been in the program her entire career here at Brook Hill. She was a distance runner for us. Just worked extremely hard. Never said a word. Always just did what we asked her to do.
Right. She's been consistent. I said that to some other coaches. Consistency is a good word for Diana. Let's talk also now, like I mentioned earlier, track and field go together. Let's talk about the Miss Field Award winner for the high school.
The 2020 Miss Field Award winner is Victoria Nawasu. Victoria is a sophomore. Our girls program was very young this year. She has been a steady in our program. She's one that we can not only depend on to perform, but to perform well.
Absolutely. All right, moving along now, let's talk about the MVP for track for this year.
The MVP for girls track is also Victoria Nawasu. Again, Victoria was as much a competitor as she was a teacher of the young kids. And I think really without her on the hill with Coach Costin Wallace, we would have struggled.
Well, and you mentioned the teaching part, but a lot of points have come because of what she's done up there on the hill. All right, and the other award for girls track, the Guard Hart Award winner.
The Guard Hart Award winner for 2020 is Hannah Smith. Hannah was a freshman this year, but again, she was an individual that not only worked hard, but showed leadership with our young team. Again, a character that is very unquestionable.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about the boys. And this is a group, as we mentioned, that had a lot of potential to do some things this year. But let's start with the Mr. Track Award winner for this year.
The Mr. Track Award winner for 2020 is Fisher Bass. Fisher was an individual that was willing to do anything for this program. He was willing to give up individual events for the team relays. He was willing to do any event that we asked him to do. He is an individual that we will point back to for many years as to how someone who is interested in being successful in track and field can emulate.
Yeah, I think that a lot of us in different sports will recognize that about Fisher. Let's talk about the Mr. Field Award winner for this year.
The Mr. Field Award winner is Nico Flores. Nico was, again, an individual that was very dependable, but again, he participated in the regional meets, the state meets. He is well deserving of Mr. Field.
Absolutely. All right, moving along, and your track and field MVP.
My track and field MVP is also Nico Flores. Nico was a young man that we could count on for points. We could count on him to, in most cases, medal, but we knew that when he entered the discus ring that we were going to get points from that. And in fact, he was the only medalist this year in the Jack Fry relays in Winona.
And definitely the ultimate competitor, Nico Flores. All right, and the third award, the Guard Hart Award for track and field.
The Guard Hart Award for track and field goes to Fisher Bass. Fisher was an outstanding athlete, did everything as I mentioned, but he was also a young man of impeccable character, a person that was involved in the community. He was a guy, again, from a character perspective that we'll be able to point other athletes to in the future.
Absolutely, and Coach, so we appreciate that. We appreciate all you guys coming out here today and talking about our track and field program. And this is a group that had their season cut short. They'll be back next year. I know we're expecting big things from them when we get back next year. All right, I'm here with the girls soccer staff, head coach David Collins, assistants Parker O'Quinn, coach Austin Reed, and Coach Collins, talk a little bit about your middle school girls season and how that went and what those girls accomplished on the field.
The girls had an unbelievable season. It was the most successful season that they've ever had. Got into the finals and lost in a penalty shootout, and just had a tremendous season. These girls are have really developed and come along, and the potential that they have going forward is really high, and they're going to be a really tough squad going forward. I'm excited about the future of the program.
Yeah, we're pretty blessed to have a lot of girls who participate in club soccer and do some things outside of just what we do in the school, which I think is an advantage we have over everybody else. And talk a little bit about, I know number-wise, you have a lot of girls who want to be a part of that program. It kind of speaks to the tradition of the program in the future as well.
Yeah, we have more girls out at all levels, middle school all the way through high school, than we've ever had in the soccer program. And you spoke about tradition. The girls have had an unbelievable run since we began the program, with 2 state championships and in the playoffs consistently. And it's something that has attracted girls to play, and I think that they buy into what we're doing, and the success of our program is definitely because of them and their hard work and their desire to be successful on the field for us.
Absolutely. So let's wrap up the middle school season a little bit, and let's go ahead and give our 2 awards for middle school. First, Coach, your Miss Soccer Award for middle school.
Miss Soccer Award for middle school this year, I am excited to give that to Hadley Clark.
Hadley does a great job on the field. And Coach, our other middle school award, our Guard Heart Award for middle school girls soccer.
It's a privilege for me to give the Guard Heart Award this year to Kaylee Fitzgerald.
Congratulations to Hadley and Kaylee both. And Coach, let's transition and talk about the high school season a little bit. Talk a little bit about the season overall and what your thoughts were on from the beginning to end what the girls did.
I think that the girls' season this year, we played a really difficult schedule on the girls' side, and our district was loaded with quality teams. One thing that the girls showed me this year was their willingness to compete, I think, was tremendous. We're a very young team. We only graduate 2 seniors. And so the quality of play and the season that they had is not really indicative of our record, I would say. And it doesn't show just how far the girls came from day one to the end of the season. And with the girls we have coming back, the 8th graders we have coming up from the middle school, the varsity girls program, I am really excited about the next few years of that program and the direction that it's headed.
Absolutely. I know you guys have probably talked about this, but if you look back on the year, what would be kind of the one memory that sticks out for you for the girls' season?
I think the way that we competed our first district home game against Grace. Those girls, it was a 0-0 game at halftime, and the way that we battled them in that game, I really think was a turning point as far as a true culture shift in the way that the girls program is. And they finally realized that, we do belong on the field and we can compete. And I think that is going to be a really good springboard for us as we jump in next season. Having so many players coming back and the quality of players that we have coming back, I'm really excited about where the program's going.
We talked about this a little bit before, but if you look back on the year and when you have a year where it doesn't translate necessarily into wins and losses, you kind of learn a lot from that. What were some of the things, or what was the main thing you learned from the season about your program as you went through the year?
I think that it's 2 words, really. I think that it's the girls were very resilient in the way that they handled themselves. They faced adversity really well. They never got down on themselves as a team. Regardless of what the scoreboard says, our quality of play improved the entire time. And then their willingness to compete said a lot to me as we kept going because we were in virtually every game the entire season. And experience is going to play a huge part into turning those into wins for us going forward in the program. I
know you guys are excited about moving forward and what's going to happen as we go along. Let's get into our awards, Coach, and let's start with our 2019-2020 Upper School Miss Soccer Award winner.
I am really honored today to give the Miss Soccer Award for varsity soccer to Avery Latson.
Coach, talk a little bit about Avery and what she means to the program.
Avery has been in the program for 7 years. She's been a staple for our program, a measure of consistency that has really held our team together and been a player that the girls really look up to. And her hard work and her attitude and the way she treats her teammates definitely sets her apart from others.
Let's talk a little bit about the next award, which is a big one as well, the 2019-2020 Girls Soccer MVP Award.
Today, it's my pleasure to give our MVP award to Dominica Ducal. She had a tremendous season, led us in scoring, was definitely a dominant player on the field for us, and only being a freshman, I'm really excited about the next 3 years with her.
And Coach, our final award is our 2019-2020 Girls Soccer Guard Heart Award.
Today, we're going to give the Guard Heart Award to Emerson Rose for girls soccer. She sets an example to every player on the field with her character and the way that she is with everyone. She is truly a blessing to have in the program.
Congratulations to those 3 award winners, and coaches, thank you for coming out today, and I know that you guys are ready to get back to normal and get back on the sideline next year. It'll be an exciting year.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm here to talk a little tennis now with Coach Ivan Johnson and Coach Barb Hines. And Coach, I know that the tennis season was cut short, didn't get a full year's worth of work in, but I know your guys have been working hard when they got sent home.
Yes, it was quite a tough year for us. We had really looked forward to this year. We were looking like a strong girls and boys team, and I think we had a good chance of winning district and going deep in the state playoffs.
And this is a program, I think this was your second full year in charge of the program. And last year you guys had some success. I know you were looking to build on that. Talk a little bit about, what that has meant in the growth of the program since you guys have started taking over.
We implemented a fall tennis schedule last year, and that has really been a time when we can see the kids develop, know what they need to work on. So working with them full time was helpful to get us a jump start on the season. Coach Hines was implementing, while I was in basketball, she was out there working with them, and it helped. You could see those kids get better and have the drive to get better.
I know having Coach Hines has been beneficial to you in a number of ways, but talk a little bit about what it's meant to have somebody else come alongside you, being over the boys and the girls program, and just developing all those young ladies and young men as complete players.
Well, it gives me time to work with a certain group. Like if I work with doubles, it gives me the time to do that. I trust Coach Hines. She knows a lot about tennis. She's been playing tennis, and she's very knowledgeable of the game. So I trust her with the athletes, and I know they're going to get better. And they were really instrumental in wanting to get better. They were going out on their own, playing, and we got some private coaches helping us out, so that was really good.
So as you look back at the season, I guess what would kind of be, I know it was shortened, but what would be the one thing that you'll look back on and remember about the year?
Well, we went to Dallas, and we were able to really do well against some of the top teams in our district. We completely dismantled DC. We did well against Prince of Peace. We really did well against those teams that have been, strongholds in our district. And I mean, I'm telling you, our girls team that are not really tennis players came out athletically and just learned the game and played very well.
Talk a little bit about what that means for the future and the success they had. I know you lose some key pieces out of both squads, but talk about what it means going forward and the success you've had and what you can look forward to.
Well, we're losing the Greg twins. They've been there for 3 years. They went to state last year. They're leaders on the team. They lead the athletics, the exercises and stretches. They've been leaders all year, and we're going to miss them. That's going to be a big void to fill. But we're looking, those two, and Johannes Wolfram, who's also a strong player, we had to share him with soccer because they went to the state playoffs, but state final game. And so losing him and then a couple other seniors was hard, but we've got a young team, and a couple of freshmen and sophomores are going to be strong for us.
Talk a little bit about the girls and what you expect out of them going forward.
Well, we were so excited this year. We had so many girls. I mean, we've never had this many girls come out.
Right.
And we, for the first time in a long time, were able to really choose the best players on our team.
There you go.
And it was fun for them. It was fun for them to compete against each other and challenge each other and make each other better. So
it's fun when you start getting to the point where now you worry about having enough, and then you get to the point where you have so many that you're getting to choose, and it just makes the program that much better.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about some awards, and we'll start on the girls' side. And I know that in a shortened season it's tough, but let's start off with the 2020 Miss Tennis Award winner.
Our 2019-2020 Miss Tennis is Annie Newman.
And talk a little bit about Annie and what she's meant to you and kind of her growth as a player.
Well, Annie is, again, one of those leaders, only a junior, so we look forward to seeing her next year. Just a solid player, just gets better and better every time she steps on the court. And she has a great attitude, always bubbly, always a positive attitude.
Makes it easy for a coach. Makes it easy for a coach. All right, the 2019-2020 girls tennis MVP.
Our MVP this year is Belle Reed. And that, I know, may surprise some people, but Belle Reed is an athlete. She got out there and she worked hard. She learned the game. She learned how to play, and she's so athletic. She was just doing well, very well.
And you're right, somebody who just coming out, trying this now for the first time, and not surprised as an athlete she can do that. The third award, the 2019-2020 Girls Tennis Guard Hart Award winner.
This year is a brand new player. She's a resident life player, very sweet, Elisa Kamani.
And talk a little bit about I know that award talks more to, not only, but talks more to their personality and what they mean to the team. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, she's just a sweet girl, never complains. She actually won an award in our Faulkner tournament. It's a big tournament with John Tyler and some big schools. Right. She was able to capture third place, and she's very tenacious. She doesn't give up, and she just keeps fighting. She's a good player.
All right, let's talk about the boys and talk about your 2019-2020 Mr. Tennis Award winner.
Our Mr. Tennis Award this year will go to Andrew Gregg.
And you mentioned the twins and what they meant, but talk about Andrew specifically.
Andrew specifically came out as a sophomore and was not very good, but he never gave up. I mean, he worked. I've never seen a kid work so hard, and he would study tennis. He would study players. He was that type of player that would just get better and try to get better, and he built other players up and made them better as well.
And that definitely helps. All right, the second award, the 2019-2020 tennis MVP.
All right, tennis MVP this year for the boys is Jonathan Humphreys.
Jonathan Humphreys, and you're talking about a kid who's been a part of a number of things at this school. Not surprising that he's capable of winning an award like this.
Yes, Jonathan, powerful player, powerful serve, very consistent. He's nice, but he's deadly. He's got a deadly game, and he'll put you away. He has no shame in his game. He works hard, and he shows that on the court.
All right, and the third award, the 2019-2020 Tennis Guard Heart Award winner.
Our Guard Heart Award winner this year is Johannes Wolfer. He has been there since his freshman year, and he's grown as a great person, as a great player. And we, again, had to share him. Didn't see him a lot this year, but when he was out there, he was playing hard.
I really want to brag on Johannes a little bit because the Guard Heart being a leadership type award, I think other coaches have even echoed this. He grew so much as a leader and as a person from last year to this year, and I think that it's fitting that he gets rewarded.
Absolutely.
For that reward.
Such a growth. I mean, personally, I know him very well, and he grew spiritually, he grew maturing, and he just became a very good young man in tennis and outside of tennis as well.
Absolutely. So congratulations to those award winners. I know that these coaches are excited about growing the program, and we'll have to wait till next spring, but the tennis coach will be back, and we'll see you on the court next year. All right, so I'm here with the staff of the boys basketball program here at the Brook Hill School. Head coach Jacob Agnew and assistants Ivan Johnson and Stephen Lewis. And guys, it was a fun basketball season. Let's start with the middle school. And coach, I know that you guys are all involved, and that's kind of the benefit of the way our program works is varsity coaching and working with the middle school guys. But talk a little bit about their season and the progress they made over the course of the year.
Well, it was really nice. We had some guys that have been with the program for a while, and then we got some new guys that came in, and it was really cool to see them just progress from the beginning of the year to the end. They lost a hard-fought game to a team that they'd beaten, in the season, in the championship. But man, it was from point A to point B. Man, they really improved, and it was awesome.
Talk a little bit about what it means to be able to be involved in the middle school program as a varsity head coach and what that does for your program in the long run.
Absolutely. I tell everybody that I come across that we have the best farm system around. Having Coach Dawkins and Coach Lewis bring those guys up, that just helps me tremendously when I get them as ninth graders, and we can start up here instead of starting down there.
Yeah, I talk to other coaches. It helps when they know your vocabulary when they walk into freshmen, which a lot of places don't have that. So let's talk about some middle school awards real fast before we move on to high school, and let's go ahead and give out the middle school Mr. Basketball Award.
All right, our Mr. Basketball for 2020 is Colton Richards.
And Colton does a great job. I know you're excited about having him moving up to the high school level next year. Let's move on to the middle school Guard Heart Award for basketball.
Middle school Guard Heart Awards for 2020 basketball is David and Drew Sims.
Those are two guys we've talked about them with some other coaches that are just laid back and they don't say a lot, but they just lead by example. So those are two other 8th graders that will be a part of the program next year. Let's move on and talk about the high school season. Ended in the playoffs. It was kind of an up and down season at some times. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we up and down. We started off hot, won our first few games in a row, hit a little lull, and then kind of ignited a fire in us, and we finished strong through district. We made it to the playoffs, lost to a team that went all the way to the Final Four, and we had chances to win. So having the nucleus of our team coming back next year is going to be huge.
Yeah, up and down is not always a bad thing. You look at it from the fact that you return every starter. Really, you probably return your top 7 or 8, 9 guys. Have some JV guys that will come and help you out. Talk a little bit about even the future going forward, those guys coming back.
Absolutely. I mean, we're ready to get going again. I think like you said, having our top 7, 8 guys, and then a great JV squad and some guys going to come up and help next year, the future is bright.
Absolutely. So if you look back on the year, what would be the one thing that sticks out to you? What one moment, if there was one? I could probably think of a few you might have, but what would be the one moment you remember about this year?
After losing a game that we really shouldn't have lost and coming back and taking and just blowing that team out on our home floor and everybody getting to play. We got our seniors both got buckets and the crowd was crazy. It was awesome. That's definitely the top moment.
And I remember that specific game, the crowd was probably the best it had been all year, and that's our student section, a big part of this. What did you learn maybe from your group this year? What would be the one thing that maybe you didn't know about them that you learned about them over the course of the year, or even about your program in general?
I guess I think I knew it, but they showed it that they're resilient and they're really coachable. Things don't always go our way. That's just the way sports are. But these guys are really coachable, and that as a coach, it makes it so much easier and so much more fun to do your job when you got kids like that try to do what you're coaching them to do, and all of my guys do.
I think it goes back to what you said a minute ago, losing a game you shouldn't have, come back and then get a big win at home. I think it says a lot about them being resilient. Let's talk about your awards. And this, when you look at your team, and these awards could go to a number of guys, but I think you got some deserving award winners. So let's start with your 2019-2020 Mr. Basketball.
All right, Mr. Basketball for varsity this year goes to Taiwan Canyon. Taiwan, he is one of the big faces of our program. He does things the right way. He's a good player, and I think everybody at the school would say he's a great kid.
Yep, absolutely, and going to have a big year next year too. Let's move along and talk about our 2019-2020 basketball MVP.
All right, our basketball MVP this year is Joseph Johnson. Joseph, he led our team. He plays the point and he takes care of the ball a lot of the times. He's kind of the quarterback of our team, and he's good.
Yeah.
And he's good. And just like Taiwan, he's a great kid. You never have to worry about him. He's a yes sir. He's a hard worker. He's going to do what it takes to win.
And brings the intensity every night. Moving along, and the third award of the 2019-2020 Basketball Guard Hard Award winner.
Our Guard Hard Award winner this year goes to Chandler Fletcher, a guy that really worked to get better this year and was really a good example for our team and our program.
And there was a time when Chandler came out and whether you were expecting him to contribute a lot, came out and started making a bunch of buckets in the fall and early on in the winter for sure. So I'm glad that you guys could join us today. I know we're excited about next basketball season, and you guys getting everybody back. It's going to be fun, and we'll see you guys in the gym. Okay, so I'm here with the volleyball staff here at the Brook Hill School. Head coach Sonora Duty, coaches Paige Holland, Lauren Sykes, and Lindsay Flores. And let's talk, Coach, first about the middle school season, because I think one of the benefits of being at Brook Hill is the fact that our varsity coaches are hands-on with our middle school kids. And sixth graders get into play, and you had a lot of those guys. But talk about the middle school season as a whole.
It was great. The middle school season was, it was new for me to get to work with that age group and work with sixth grade all the way up through seniors in high school all at once during a season is really unique to me, and I loved it. But these coaches did a great job with our middle school program. We had sixth graders stepping up to play on seventh grade. We had seventh graders stepping up to lead on eighth grade. We had our libero on eighth grade was a seventh grader. No one would ever know that unless you know them. But she was great. The team was great. They had a great preseason. They played 3 tournaments, made really strong showings every tournament, and then they went on to district. They did really well. Unfortunately, we fell in tap sack to All Saints, which we'd already beaten twice during the season, but we're not going to talk about that. Great season, though. I'm really proud. I can't wait to see what they do next year. Having some of them in the high school program and seventh graders stepping up to lead in eighth grade is going to be great.
I've talked to some other coaches about this, but talk about how important it is to you as a leader of the high school program to be able to work with them for 3 more years, to where when they come in as a freshman, they know what you mean when you say X, Y, Z.
Yeah. So so valuable. I mean, I get to, day one, we get to go in and I get to set my expectations with the coaches, and they get to relay that to the girls. I mean, some of them it's their first experience with volleyball, and this is all they'll learn. So I think that's great. That way I don't have to spend time freshman year of high school working on those basics. They've already got them out of the way. They've learned them the way I want to learn them so that they fit into the program really well, and I think that's so valuable. I can't even describe it.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some awards for the middle school. A lot of deserving kids, but let's start with the 2019-2020 middle school Miss Volleyball.
Miss Volleyball is going to come to a girl that she's going into high school next year, and I'm really excited to get to work with her. Gracie Dawson, she's got heart, she's got fire, she's got talent, she's got energy. She gives everything on the court all the time. So she's someone that I'm really excited to work with next year.
Yeah, a big part of the future for you guys going forward. What about the 2019-2020 Guard Hart Award winner for volleyball?
Guard Hart's going to go to Landry McNeil. She's someone I'm also really excited to work with next year. This season she really fought. I think Gracie led on the court, Landry led on the court, but Landry led on the bench in between games. She led in the huddle. She at practice. I mean, she was talking to girls, coaching them up, really the heart of the team. I mean, she is. She's a great kid.
Absolutely. Congratulations to both of those two. And now let's move on and talk about high school. Coach, it was a great year. Talk a little bit about, I know it was way back in the fall, people don't remember this, but it ended in the state tournament run, so talk a little bit about the season.
It did. It was a really good season, a good first season for me, a good first season for a couple of the coaches here too, coaching with the volleyball program. I had big expectations coming into the season for this group of girls, but they far exceeded what I expected. I think, I knew we could make it to state, but actually seeing it happen and come to fruition was really, really exciting for me. We had a good preseason, a couple good tournaments, a couple tough matches against All Saints and Grace, and went to Dallas, played Dallas Christian, pretty tough. And we, took district championship, went to playoffs, had a couple really, really tough games that we really had to dig deep and find how to win. But it turned out really well. So those were great games. We played Prince of Peace in the state semifinal, and they were a good team. They had a big group of seniors. They had some big hitters. We expect to see them again next year, so it was good.
It's funny because over the last couple of years being here, I know you being your first year haven't seen this, but the way the school and the students have gotten behind the volleyball program this year was no exception. I think one of the most fun things about the playoff run was the number of people there. Talk a little bit about what that meant to have that fan support as you went down the road.
Oh man, it was so great. Especially knowing, I wasn't here last year obviously, but knowing that we had taken on Legacy here last year in the same situation, and they had taken us down. And so I know that the girls had a fire in their heart coming into it this year, and so did the coaches, and knowing the fans were there to see that defeat last year kind of brought us all together as a family, and we really all were there. I felt the support in that game, and it was huge. It came down to the fifth set, and it came down to the last couple points, and I know that the fans and the support and the atmosphere here really kind of drove us home. It was great.
I think you could probably give me 10 if I asked you. What's the one memory, when you look back on this past season, what's the one memory you're going to have in that year?
It's that playoff game. It's winning here, winning against Legacy here, and getting that revenge for the girls I know that they wanted was great. It's closely followed by the next playoff game, which was a great atmosphere too on the road. But yeah, getting that win here is definitely fun.
I know in your first year as a coach here, and a lot of these coaches, their first time coaching volleyball here, what's the one thing you learned from your group? What's the one thing you learned from the season or from your program that maybe you didn't know or weren't expecting?
I think just kind of figuring out the different personalities and how they all work together. A lot of this year was me figuring out them figuring out me, us figuring each other out, because it's all new. And I think seeing it all come together and really start to work well about midway through the season, being comfortable with each other, being able to talk to the girls and know who the go-tos are, know who can really step up when we need them. Getting that worked out was the best part of it for me. So, yeah.
Like I said, in a season that ends in a state tournament appearance, there's probably a lot of memories and things you learned and things you can look back on and say, we got to keep doing this or we got to do this different as we go forward. Let's talk about the awards. Awards are tough, especially in a team that goes that far because you have so many contributors, but I know there's always some that stand out. So let's start with the 2019-2020 volleyball, Miss Volleyball Award.
So Miss Volleyball for high school is going to go to Laurel Reed. I can't think of a better kid to kind of embody the volleyball program this year. She was a leader on the court, she was a leader off the court, she was someone I could pull aside and tell something to, and she'd relate to the team and make it happen. She fought to the end. The very last point, she fought through ankle injury going into playoffs, came back better than ever, and so she, by far, she embodies that award to me.
Let's talk about the next award, the 2019-2020 Volleyball MVP Award.
MVP is going to go to Belle Reed. This award it's very stat driven, but it's also, it's the most valuable player, and I can't tell you the value that she brings to the team. She's someone that really stepped up when we needed her. She was consistent every game, but in those moments where we had to side out, we had to get the ball back. She made it happen. She knew what she needed to do, and she's, a leader on the court. She's got the fire in her that we needed to get us to the point that we got this year. And hitter of the year, she was first team all district, first team all state, all state tournament team. She kind of definitely embodies award for me.
Well, not to mention how many grown men would sit in the stands and say, I would not want to be in front of a ball when she hits it over the net. So she has that going for her too. So let's talk about the 2019-2020 Volleyball Guard Heart Award winner.
So this is going to go to two girls. There's two that they kind of embody this in two different ways, but they both are very deserving of this award. Natalie Travis and Anna Hardy, both really, really hard workers. Natalie was a big part of this program from day one, from her day one, for 7 years now, and she's been a constant force. She's been really the heart of the team. If you look through pictures of the season, she's the one that's jumping up and high-fiving people and getting excited about every single point. So she was. I couldn't have thought of a better group of seniors to have this year, but she was a great heart of the team. And then Anna Hardy, she's someone that if you watch our team and watch them play, everyone can see that she is the hardest worker on the court. She's my setter, so she kind of has to be by default, but she takes that to the next level. She's diving around, she's chasing after balls that she didn't have to, and she fought to the end this year, and she's got that fire, and her heart it's huge and it shows.
Well, a lot of deserving award winners, and I know that you guys are ready to get back this summer and in the fall, and we'll see you guys back here in the gym in August. All right, so I'm here with the coaches of the Brook Hill cheer squad, Coach Tiffany Hubbard, Coach Catherine Ford. Let's talk a little bit about the year, and let's start with middle school because you had like 80,000 middle school cheerleaders.
We had 20.
Okay.
We had 20 cheerleaders. We took them to camp this summer at NCA in Galveston at Moody Gardens. They received top team award for middle school. And then our middle school cheerleaders cheer at football games and basketball, and then their season concludes at the end of basketball season.
Talk a little bit. I know that other schools have middle school cheer programs, obviously, but I don't know how many of them actually have the varsity coaches working with them, and what that means for you guys is you're able to really work with somebody for 7 years as opposed to just 4.
Well, this year's seniors are the first group that we've had all the way through. So our seniors we got in 6th grade, and because we're able to build a program in middle school, by the time they get to varsity level, we're working on specific skills instead of training them in how we want them to be. So I think as they get older and are more involved in our program, the more specific skills and advanced we can work with them.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some middle school awards before we talk about the high school level. Let's start with your 2019-2020 Middle School Miss Cheer Award.
Miss Cheer goes to Kayla Powell. Kayla's been a part of the program 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. She is a leader in the classroom and always at practice has a positive attitude, and so we chose Kayla.
Congratulations to Kayla. Let's talk about your 2019-2020 Middle School Cheer Guard Heart Award.
So the Guard Heart Award goes to Dre Tonroy. Dre has also been a part of the program for 3 years. Dre always has a great personality. She's always the one there to make us laugh. Spiritually, she leads the team, and so we chose Dre.
Congratulations to Kayla and Dre both on that. All right, let's talk about high school, because 2 years ago you guys go down to the state competition. You finished second. After a rough first day, you finished second and that was kind of where you thought you could get. Going into last year, you thought, man, we got to answer some questions, and you have a bad first day and then have a great second day and finish second again. So talk about the year, not just what you do at football games, but about the competition, and I guess kind of wrap it all up.
I think you talked about last year a little bit. Coach Ford and I kind of sat down and said, what do we have to do to get to where we want to be? We made the kids a part of that conversation because I think we can want to win, but if they don't also want to win, we're kind of spinning our wheels. So 2 years ago, we sat down with them and we were just like, where is your mindset? What do you want to do? We set some goals. Last year's group, hands down, met every goal. We were trying to finish top 3. We go down, we have a rough first day, like you said. We were in 7th place and jumped 5 teams to 2nd. I think that 2nd place win was it motivational for them, but it also made them hungry for more. So I think we went into this year saying that's not enough. 2nd's not enough. We want better. There's always a team down there that athletic-wise, they've got all the athletes. They only cheer at Brook Hill. You know, our girls are involved in multi-sports simultaneously, not just in another sport. So they're doing a lot of things at the same time. So with us having to balance their life schedules, their workout schedules, and all of that, I think that we went down there hoping to win. I don't know that we thought we're going to bring it home just with the competition that was there. Like you said, we had a awful first day. I don't even know that we can say a rough first day. It was not great. 2nd day, our goal was to come out, hit everything that we can, and don't worry about what place. They went into warm-ups and were awful again. So the fact that they pulled it off, we were excited about. We really had no expectations of finishing in the top 5, actually. So once we finished 2nd, our goal this year is have a good day 1, have a good day 2, and let's try to win it.
Yeah, try to put it all together 2 days in a row.
Right.
But let's go back and talk about the ability of those girls to come back after the bad first day this year, because I think one of the questions I've asked them as coaches is, what's the one thing you learned about your team? And I think what you learned about your team in that, and I'm answering this for you, is that they are resilient, because they really had, and I think it freed them up, no pressure to do as well as they did, but they probably had the best performance they've had at the right time.
Right. I think that, like you said earlier, having them from 6th grade, I think they know us. They know our expectations of them. We know the expectations that we have for them. And I think ultimately they just kind of pulled it together. I think it had nothing to do 2nd day with anything Coach Ford and I said. I think that the leaders on the team kind of pulled them together and said, this is our chance. If we're going to do it, we need to do it. And like you said, there was no pressure 2nd day other than just try to pull off a flawless performance.
And they did that. All right, so let's shift gears. Talk about, real quickly, all the stuff you do. I know people see it, but they don't see the work that goes behind it. But in the football games and the pep rallies and basketball games and send-offs and everything else you guys do, talk a little bit about that.
Well, like I said earlier, our girls are multi-sport athletes. So we have volleyball players who are in-season volleyball, trying to manage and navigate our practices, volleyball practices, football games, pep rallies. The cheerleaders here kind of get a lot of responsibility as far as the leadership, the spirits, continuing traditions on campus. But always football season, they have pep rallies, walk to the rock. They're also in lower school cheer on Wednesdays. They go down and work with a group down there. So that's filling some of their time. And then on top of that, our practices at school are typically game day type practices. We're getting ready for whatever sport is in season. And then in the evenings after school's out, after their other sports are over, we're spending that time in competition practice. So anybody who cheers here is a good navigator of just life. They're having to balance a whole lot of things at once.
Learning a little time management. All right, so let's move on to talk about some awards for the high school group. This, as you mentioned, this group of seniors is the first group you've had the whole time, and you've had a number of girls for multiple years, and you're kind of starting to see the benefit of that, and a lot of deserving cheerleaders for some of these awards. But let's start with your 2019-2020 Miss Cheer Award.
Miss Cheer goes to Sydney McNeil. Sydney has been part of the program since 6th grade. She lives and breathes it. I think she wouldn't know what to do if cheer wasn't in her life. And so when we were talking about this award, we wanted it to be somebody who that's kind of their thing. And I think hands down, cheer's her thing. So Sydney McNeil, congratulations.
All right, let's talk about the next award, the 2019-2020 Cheer MVP.
MVP is Gracie Campbell. Gracie, we've also had since 6th grade. She's a junior this year, so we're happy to get her back next year. She is an All-American cheerleader at NCAA every year that we go. She's been first team All-State both years at competition. I think if you were a blind eye to cheer and watched our team, you could pick Gracie out of a crowd. I think that she's another one. She lives and breathes it. She's also in competitive cheer outside of here, so she's got a lot of things going on. But MVP is Gracie Campbell.
All right, and your third award, the 2019-2020 Cheer Guard Heart Award.
Guard Heart goes to Catherine Mondrick. Catherine has also been a part since 6th grade. She's a senior this year. She defines dedication and commitment. She has played volleyball, tennis, track. She's been a part of all sports here at Brook Hill. Also while navigating competition cheer, game day cheer. She'll walk off the volleyball court at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, put her cheer uniform on, and cheer till midnight. So I think hands down, dedication, commitment, Catherine Mondrick's heart is where it's at.
All right, so congratulations to those 3 winners, and I think it's pretty obvious to tell that you'll see these girls before you'll see a lot of other people when we come back in August. All right, I'm here with the football staff here at Brook Hill, and excited to talk about the football season here with a lot of our coaches, starting with Coach Austin Reed, Coach Joey Wilson, Coach David Collins, Coach Malcolm Dotson, Coach Stephen Lewis, Coach Jerry Courtney, and our head football coach, Coach Ryle. And Coach, let's talk a little bit about the year in general, and let's start with the middle school and kind of what the young guys were able to accomplish.
You know, our middle school had a great season. We had a pretty young class, a lot of 7th graders playing, a lot of 6th graders playing, very competitive all season. I'm really proud, and the future looks bright for Brook Hill.
You know, it's interesting because we're one of the few schools that lets 6th graders play, and a lot of times we go play schools that have 7th and 8th graders only, and it's always a challenge, but I thought this year those guys stepped up and did pretty well.
They did, and at key positions too. You know, a lot of them played offensive line, defensive line. Those are hard positions to play, and playing against the kids that are a lot older, and I was really excited about the season and look forward to having them up in high school.
We've said it a few times in other sports, but a lot of times in middle school we get caught up in the wins and the losses, don't look at the developmental piece of it. And I know that we're a rare spot to where our varsity coaches are involved in working with our middle school athletes every day. Kind of what does that mean for a program? As the head coach, what does that mean to you to have that available?
Well, you know, just to see them and get your hands on them every day, I think that makes us a well-rounded program, and it makes us know the kids to know the expectations in the future too.
Absolutely. So, Coach, let's talk about our middle school awards, and let's start. We have 2 middle school awards. Let's start with the 2019-2020 Middle School Mr. Football Award.
Well, Mr. Football this year is going to go to Colton Richards. He was the touchdown king this year. He moved around a lot of different positions. Excited for him to be in high school next year.
I know it was interesting to go watch, and Coach Courtney would have Richards at quarterback one play and receiver the next play and running back, and then kicker and holder and snapper all at the same time when I did that. But congratulations to Colton. What about the middle school football Guard Heart Award winner this year?
The Guard Heart Award goes to Aaron Wynn, and Aaron's a kid that will do anything you ask and works hard, and again, I'm just looking forward to him being in high school next year.
Yeah, excited about him and all those guys, so congratulations to Aaron and what they're going to mean to the program going forward. Let's transition into the high school season and talk a little bit about how that year went, because I know that it was not as many up and downs as in the past, a lot of ups, but talk about the year overall.
You know, I was really excited about coming into the season. We had some key holes, and luckily we had some guys step up and fill those positions, and we had a tremendous senior class. A lot of guys been here for quite a few years, and they were the base, and that's why we were successful this year. And getting to the playoffs and winning that playoff game, you know, I felt like we had a good chance to make it all the way to the state game.
Yeah, it's nice when you're playing the week before Thanksgiving. I have a chance to play during Thanksgiving break.
Absolutely.
What would be, I guess, the one memory as you look back on the year? What will stick out to you the most? Is there one moment, or is it one thing that the team taught you? What would it be for you?
Obviously, beating Grace 2 years back to back. I mean, that's an easy one for the kids. I think it's just after the end of the game, just seeing how excited those kids are, the smiles on their face and their families and our student population.
Yeah, to do it 2 years in a row and then the second time to be over there, a big memory that I think most people, when they think about the season, they'll remember. When you go through a year like this, especially in football, which teaches you so many things, you're going to learn something from the kids, or they're going to teach you something about them or about you or as a program. What was that one thing that you learned from this season?
Yeah, definitely trust in the kids, trust in their ability, trust that they'll take care of the business, and they did that all year.
It was interesting to see that, as you mentioned, different kids stepped up throughout the whole thing, and I think that as a staff, we could agree that we did, as so many questions going into the year, have them answered in November was nice to see. Let's talk about your awards, Coach, and we'll start with the 2019-2020 Mr. Football Award winner.
The Mr. Football Award goes to Jake Schaefer. He is a 4-year starter for us at Brook Hill Football, and he did everything. He's a kicker, punter, ran the football, played receiver, played linebacker, played DB. He's a little Swiss Army knife for our team.
We talked about this, always willing to do what was needed at any time. All right, the 2019-2020 Football MVP Award winner.
The MVP goes to Seth Moss. Seth was our leading receiver this year. He was first team All-District on offense this year and was first team All-District last year in defense. So a really good football player for us.
Always one of the guys in the big moments that you saw was Seth Moss. The 2019-2020 Football Guard Hart Award winner, Coach.
Guard Hart Award goes to Nico Flores. Nico is a kid that never left the field, was voted captain by his peers, and is a great leader for our team.
Absolutely. So congratulations to all of our award winners for the football season. And I know now as we get into the spring and the summer, we're ready to get going, and we'll be back in August, guys. So thanks for coming out, and we'll see you real soon. So I'm here in the Brook Hill weight room with Coaches Lindsay Flores and Coach Austin Reed to talk about one of the most prestigious awards that we have here at Brook Hill, the Ironman Award. And Coach, we were talking, this award started back in 2011, 2012. As an attempt to reward our athletes who participate in multiple sports, it's important to us here. Talk about how we push kids to do more than just one thing.
Yeah, we realize that as a school here at Brook Hill, we will thrive at our greatest when we have students who are participating in every sport that they can possibly. And we do a lot as a coaching staff to try to help that out and to foster that kind of a culture here. And so we're super proud of those who not just the Ironman Award winners, but every student who participates in multiple sports, because that's how we are going to be our best, and that's how we're always competitive in the arena.
We push girls to do different things and be part of different sports. As coaches, we're being pushed to do different things. I think one of the benefits, and something we've talked about before this, is the fact that you get to be a part of those girls' lives throughout everything. What does that mean to you as a coach?
I enjoy so much because I'm able to see the girls all year round and be able to just see how they develop as an athlete from the fall to the spring.
Coach Reed, I know that you've been here a long time. You've been around athletics all your life. We talk all the time about how college coaches are one multi-sport athletes. They don't want guys who just specialize anymore. And we're fortunate we have a ton of kids who are willing to do that. How important is it for those kids to realize that you don't need to just do one thing? If you can do everything, you're going to be a well-rounded person, a well-rounded athlete, and have your opportunities in college even further.
Yeah, you're talking about not just, how good are you at that particular sport, but how good are you, or how competitive are you in a bunch of areas? Are you willing to go out and try new things? Are you willing to be coached in things that you may not be super talented in? We see that a lot in our college athletes and how they have grown, not just here as high school athletes, but when they go to college and they become great college athletes, it's because of that kind of flexibility that the coaches are looking for. And so we try to encourage that in our students, in our athletes. We want them to be well-rounded, to develop different skills, because you never know how one sports skill might translate to another and make you even better.
Well, and before we present the award, also you've been here when the enrollment numbers were not near what they are today. And you've been here when you had to have everybody participate in everything and be a part of that. But now we're at a point where even though we have more numbers, we still need kids to be involved in that. And I know you would encourage, some way that I would, Coach Flores, to encourage kids to do more things and be a part of multi-sports going forward.
Well, that's the truth of it is we're still competing with schools that are much larger than we are. And just because we have more involved and we are a bigger school today than we were 13 years ago when I started, doesn't mean that we don't want everybody out there, because it does take a multitude of athletes with different skill sets to be successful in any sport, no matter what we try to compete in.
So this is the 9th year we've given the Ironman Award here at Brook Hill, and Coach Flores will let you announce the 2019-2020 Ironman winner.
The 2019-2020 Ironman winner is Jake Schaefer.
So Coach, Jake Schaefer's a kid that has an opportunity, an all-state caliber player in 3 sports across the board. And when you start talking about the best all-around athletes at this school's history, Jake's in the conversation.
Absolutely. I've had the pleasure of working with Jake in all three of those sports, actually, as a football player, as a soccer athlete, and as a baseball player. And his commitment to his teammates is wonderful, the leadership he shows there, but he's also, as you've maybe even seen in other videos, he's very versatile, man. Those different talents that went from one sport to another allowed him to play multiple positions even in those different sports. And so we're super excited and super proud of the man Jake's turned out to be and the athlete he's turned out to be. And so we're really grateful for who he has been for Brook Hill.
You mentioned other videos, but also every coach we've talked to about Jake has said this: he's always willing to do whatever he's asked to do. And I think the Ironman is not just a physical award, it's a mental award in what he is as a person. So congratulations to Jake on that award. And I know that there are a lot of deserving people that we could talk about in the same way, but congratulations to Jake on this award.
Well, how'd you like that? You know, this has been an awesome year. The football team got us started off. They made a playoff run. Guys like Garrett Esposito and Peter Svoboda and Yetta Saturnpaw, Lane Barter led the team to a playoff win and just an awesome season. And how about those volleyball girls making it all the way to the state semifinals? Our cheerleaders were runner-ups again for 2 years in a row. Our boys basketball team, district runner-up, and then our boys soccer team, state finalists. We had high hopes of baseball, golf, tennis, and softball also advancing far into the playoffs and going to state. But the season was cut short. But it's been an outstanding year. And I want to thank our seniors. Seniors, it's all about you and what you've done for the school. And the parents and families, thank you so much for your support of the athletic program. So we want to get ready for next year now. All you kids that are coming back, let's get ready to go. Seniors, thank you so much. And signing off from the Harrington Football Stadium, I'm Wally Dawkins.